生活可能像在冒险，刺激紧凑，
缓慢哀伤，
有时甚至会起起伏伏。
来自精神病学精神疾病诊断与统计手册 DSM， 这本943页的书涵盖了所有一切。
那本书一定有许多的科学根据，
来听听看。
DSM is made up by committees of men who have political opinion, and women too, who have biases and political opinions. And so there isn't nearly as much science in DSM as there ought to be.
Like in the previous one, people had a meeting in the bathroom and they decided that something should be in there, and then they would go and propose it to the whole committee.
You have this kind of lumping together of several observations, and when you get enough of them in one tent, you got a diagnosis.
DSM system is not the real system of the diagnosis.
It's so useless that if you give me a patient and the DSM, I'll make at least 20 diagnoses on the same patient.
精神病学家起初怎么发现这些失调的？
答案可能会让你吓到。
New diseases are being invented all the time, and I want to emphasize the word invented. They're invented.
Every few years, a group of psychiatrists and psychologists sit around in a room and vote on new diagnoses.
这哪是科学？我不敢相信。
别担心，不只是你。
The diseases are voted on? What do you mean?
Did you say are they voted into existence? Or voted? As in created?
Oh, man.
I think that's kind of ridiculous. It's crazy that you would vote.
I definitely don't agree.
I don't agree with it at all.
I have been led to believe that it's all based on medicine and science.
So I'm kind of shocked to find that out.
我也是。
Determine what should and shouldn't go into the DSM, the current revision. And a lot of the committee activity is based upon, could be personal bias, political pressure, the trend that may be in vogue then, and other things that are non-medical.
Well, in the DSM, I mean, they vote in diseases. I mean, they get together, the panel, psychiatrists look and decide, is this a disease or is this not a disease?
How many of you agree this should be a disease? They have a show of hands. They said 20 people in the room, 12 vote for it, 8 vote against it. Bingo. They have a disease. Tell me that that's science.
在1952年出了第一版的精神失调诊断与统计手册 DSM。第一版的 DSM 是130页的小手册，里面有112种所谓的心理疾病，其依据并非科学程序，而是由美国精神病学协会 APA 10%的医生经由通讯投票决定的。
第二版的 DSM 在1968年问世，增加到178种失调。为了让视力遍及全球，第二版 DSM 的编排特别跟国际疾病分类 ICD 一致。ICD 在欧洲和全球广为使用，它除了精神病学的诊断项目，还包含真正的医学疾病。
疾病数量增加到145种，仍旧没有科学依据，虽然里面写满了疾病理论。第三版 DSM 由精神科医生史宾兹领军，在讨论受虐型人格障碍时，史宾兹的太太对其中一种症状提出抗议，于是史宾兹就说：“好，把它删掉。”姑且不论是否科学，一旦失调症列入 DSM， 就很难将它删除。但这种极少发生的事还是有例可循的。同性恋在 DSM 第一版与第二版中是一种心理疾病，在同性恋人士与美国精神病学协会1973年的会场外抗议后，协会屈服于政治压力，在会员通讯投票后决定在下一版中删除。
What happened? It wasn't like, there's some objective evidence that at one point it was a disease and we cured the disease and that's a lifestyle choice. No, it was cultural. We became more liberal in this country and decided, okay, it's fine. Whereas, 50, 100 years ago, it wasn't fine, it was a problem. That's not medicine. That's something else.
而撰写第三版 DSM 的精神科医生知道这点。罗伯·史宾兹在多年之后向 BBC 承认
：“What happened is that we made estimates of prevalence of mental disorders totally descriptively, without considering that many of these conditions might be normal reactions, which are not really disorders. That's the problem.” 但美国精神病学协会并未从错误中学习，
在1994年发行了第4版的 DSM。DSM 第4版更大了，里面有了374种疾病，页数达886页。第4版列出的心理疾病数量是第1版的3倍以上。
哇，那国际疾病分类 ICD 这本书呢？那本书里面的心理失调也增加了吗？
一点也没错 ，ICD 里头的心理和行为失调章节几乎跟 DSM 一致。DSM 的扩编也反映在 ICD 里面。
The increase in size of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
The strategy is how many people we can diagnose with a particular label that would be broad enough to include a ton of people in it.
委员会投票表决，添加了115种心理失调的诊断项目，而且每个项目的症状都大幅增加。
The whole world is being made crazy, really. And we have these proliferation of categories which have become more and more encompassing, encroaching in ordinary everyday life.
哦，对了，就算你不属于其中任何一类，他们也可以帮你贴上标签。
我不讶异。
This is number 301.9.
312.9. 292.9. Identity disorder, not otherwise specified.
Disorder of infancy, childhood, or adolescence not otherwise specified.
Not otherwise specified.
What the hell does that say? They don't know.
It's kind of like a catch-all.
It's the garbage can for the leftovers.
There's even a box for people that don't fit in the other boxes.
To me, it's insane.
This is like rubbish to me.
This is scary to me.
这种科学是很糟糕的，因为分类很差劲。
You can always use the NOS, the not otherwise specified diagnosis.
Unspecified mental disorder. You see, that's considered a disorder. Having nothing wrong with you is now a disorder. That's what this says. Can you believe it?
不，我无法相信。有一个类别是非特定型心理失调，也就是没有加以描述的失调，那也算是心理疾病吗？
更疯狂的是，根据 DSM， 就算你的状况没写在书里面，都能诊断你有心理失调。
We're trying to have a diagnosis to cover all the bases of anything that somebody could come in complaining about, which is, again, entirely backwards from how medical diagnoses are come to.
Unless the insurance company. You know, and you get these multiple personalities, you can call insurance companies for insurance bill like that to make money.
There's nobody who walks into a psychiatrist's office that isn't going to go out with a label. He's got 374 choices or so based on the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual list of symptoms.
DSM really should be called, how to bill the insurance companies, how to get money from the insurance companies. It's a list of codes, and there's a number for everything.
The DSM is completely built into the system now because you can't get reimbursed by an insurance company unless there's a DSM diagnosis.
Psychiatrist or psychologist can go through their book now and find a diagnosis code for just about anything. Everybody would fall into something that they could put a diagnosis on.
Although it is our Bible, it becomes the Bible, and it becomes tantamount to, the tablet coming down from Mount Sinai, not just for psychiatry and psychology, but for insurance companies, for the legal profession. It comes into play as far as sentencing. It comes into play as far as custody decisions. So non-scientific information is used to make some radical, life-altering or life-ending decisions.
这些精神疾病的危险在于每个人都有可能被指为精神病患。透过 DSM 诊断，哈佛大学精神科医生宣称，地球半数人口会在有生之年罹患心理疾病。知名的哈佛精神科医生约翰·瑞提更进一步说，没有人是真正正常的。DSM 没有可靠的病理学基础，因此这些不能算是医学疾病。
If you were to be confronted with someone saying that the DSM is not backed up by science, what do you have to say about that?
Oh, I would say that they're entirely right.
No, the DSM is not science.
I think there are non-scientific elements, political aspects of it that influence it. Yeah, absolutely.
DSM-4 is still far away from science.
The DSM system is far from perfect, but it's the best we have.
DSM stands for diagnosis as a source of money.
It brings in a lot of money.
网络成瘾症原本是1997年《纽约客》杂志上的一篇开玩笑的文章。然而现在有2500万人可能被指为患有网络成瘾症。购物症、暴食症、冷漠症、家长离间综合症、关系障碍症、阵发性暴怒症、交通躁怒症，这些都可能成为未来的疾病。搭配这些疾病的药物也已经准备就绪。
DSM is in the service of making things reductionist into very simple, simplistic ways of looking at things. The only thing that we've left out of that equation is the person.
大众不知道精神科诊断不是医学，只是投票表决的行为罢了。